Facebook Live Wednesday. Can you believe that it is my 49th Facebook Live Wednesday? It's crazy. I wanted to discuss, we're always talking about what can we do for our kids, how can teach our kids to discipline, how we can teach our kids to behave. Well, today's Facebook Live is, are we learning the valuable lessons that our children are teaching us? I've been recently interviewing parent coaches, and the central theme is that we are not here to fix our child. We are here to fix us or change us, because we cannot control our kids, right? We cannot force them unless you physically force them, and that might work in the short time, but they will learn to lie. They will learn to try to get away with stuff. We've all been teenagers where we know we're going to do something that our parents forbid us to do, but we do it. But we try to be really sneaky about it. And then sometimes we get caught and sometimes we don't. So I'm here to share 5 lessons that I've learned, and I'm hoping that parents who are listening to this learn. If you're a grandma, maybe your grandchild is teaching you this. If you're an aunt, an uncle, a dad, if you're someone who interacts with children, I think these are the extremely valuable lessons that our keiki or children are teaching us. The first one, I have notes here so I don't go off tangent, although I don't promise that I'll stick to the subject. I may think of stories of my past that remind me of these lessons. Live in the moment. I'm always worrying about the future. I think a lot of parents worry about, what if my child gets suspended? What if my child fails? What if my child doesn't get into the right college? What if will kill our peace? So we need to do, if you look at children playing, they are totally in the moment, right? They don't stop in the middle of their video game and say, oh my gosh, what if I don't know how to do my homework tomorrow? What if I'm tardy tomorrow? What if mom doesn't feed me tomorrow, right? They are in the moment. And studies have shown that if you do not teach your brain to fully be in the present, that's when accidents happen, that's when stress increases, and that's when you might lose your sanity because you are so not in the present. I've dropped my phone and cracked my screen trying to hold my phone while unlocking Chelsea's bike. Some of these stories I hope will resonate with you. Think of a time, when you either got into an accident. Sometimes accidents are not preventable if someone just is racing and smashes into the rear of your car, unless you really saw that and you have time to change lanes. But most times, if we burn an egg, if we are late to work and that's stress, a lot of times we're late because we are either not being in the moment and focused and getting ready. We either woke up late or we're having to take care of the kids or having to fill in the blank. But we are very rarely in the present, right? We are either worrying about the past or we are worrying about future negative scenarios. So that's number 1. Also, which is what I'm learning, is to slow down. I am trying to work on this. When I'm nervous or excited, I tend to speak fast. So I'm really consciously making me, keep myself aware of being in the present, slowing down. And, we can't live in the moment if we don't slow down. So we need to slow down. This is why when our 2-year-old takes forever to brush his teeth or put his shoes on or eat at a restaurant when we want to go, right? And it's that time when your child says, I have to use the bathroom, right, for the 7th time. They don't have to use it at home. But as soon as they get out, I'm hungry, or I have to use the bathroom, or something, right? I have to tie my shoes. Oh no, I really want in the store, and they reach for whatever toy, food, something. and they are in the moment. And you are not in the moment because you have to do what's on your to-do list, which usually is comprised of multiple things, right? If you are working and you're raising kids, or you have hobbies that are important to you, you are really spreading yourself thin and you're not slowing down. Number 2, watch how your kids really slow down because they have that skill that we don't. So learn from your child, your teenager. Third one, oh geez, the power of imagination. You know, when I tutor 5-year-olds and they look at something, I'm teaching, maybe phonics, and like, wow, doesn't that R look like a robot? Wow, doesn't that remind you of? And they go off tangent and they can make anything into the most imaginative story, object, monster, avatar, Star Wars character, I mean, you name it. But if we harnessed the power of our imagination, we could solve problems more effortlessly. We could learn to deep breathe, look at the sky. I mean, when you see shapes in the clouds or you just daydream. Daydreaming can be ineffective if you're in class, needing to pay attention. But daydreaming can be a very inexpensive, stress-free habit hobby, a habit that we should incorporate in our daily lives because we might not be able to build forts out of chairs or play dress up or climb a tree or play hide and seek. But when we do resort to using our imagination, guys, your stress level will decrease. You might get off those blood pressure meds, or you might feel yourself smiling more instead of all grumpy. Oh my gosh, it's my Na'ali'i classmate. Hey, Mr. Alejandro, thanks for joining. We are talking about what lessons do our children, grandchildren, even your adult children, what do our kids, no matter what age they are, teach us? Of course, the older kids, your kid, no matter how old they are, if they're pushing your buttons, it's because they are teaching you a lesson and you are resisting letting go of the control that's necessary to learn the lesson. If you find yourself wanting to prove your point and thinking, oh my gosh, why is my child making such a stupid decision? Or why are they talking nonsense? Pause and really reflect. Wait a minute, what am I here to learn? Maybe it's to listen to this song that I don't like. Maybe it's to, watch a TikTok that you think is really like nonsense, but they find it funny. So it's time to reflect, pause while you do that, and say, hey, you know what? I'm going to make my child feel special. Even if they're 32, if you have a 7-year-old grandchild, and listen to them. So while tutoring, I've been doing this. I'm in the middle of an academic lesson, and like, hey, Miss Karen, guess what? I got this little toy, and they'll show their little toy, so I can say, hey, guess what? I got this cool little ice cream paperclip. And I found that when you become a child, your stress level goes down, which means you are taking care of your mental health, physical health, and emotional health. So it works both ways. It's a win-win situation. So that's number 3. Number 4, grow as a journey. Make growing a journey. A lot of times, like, I'm going to be 56. I don't know if you are already 57, if your birthday passed or not. But, when you're in your 50s, I keep thinking if you round up my age, I'm going to be 60, right? You talk to an 80-year-old, right? And they're like, oh my gosh, you're such a baby. You're only 60. You're only in your 50s. So when we look at our child, though, grow along with them. Don't look at them. When you see a 5-year-old and they're so fascinated with the rubber band on the floor, or they get very upset because they're hungry and they have to sit there and listen to you, right? Wondering if a child is hungry, I tell the parent, if I'm physically there, grab a snack so they can eat and learn. You can eat and learn at the same time. But, enjoy the process of learning something new. I had someone talk to me about Fortnite. He did not want to write, so I said we're going to tell a Fortnite story, and I don't know anything about it, but tell me how it works. And then yesterday, I was tutoring, and a sixth grader said that he built a race car, a brain builder race car for this auto race video game. And I want to see it. He's going to text it to me, but he was trying to find a Ford Flex race car, and they didn't have it. And she said, because you don't race with Ford Flex cars. So, but I thought, you know, who would have thought that would have been a total waste of time for me as an 11-year-old even to build a car that looked like my tutor's Ford Flex. But I looked at that and his eyes lit up. Like, yeah, you know, we tried to build this race car, and his energy was just off the roof. And I felt like, I usually say, okay, you know, that's good. Let's go back into problem 7. Let's go back into, you know, the academic work, which I am paid for. And then you learn that learning takes place beyond the classroom, beyond a worksheet, beyond homework. So any of you guys who think that your grandchild is being ripped off because of the new normal in education, this is the most prime time to learn things that are much more valuable than what they learn in the classroom. Think about it. Do you remember, Ed, what is the most like life-changing academic lesson that you learned? Like, oh my gosh, I remember math class when we found the area of a trapezoid. That changed my life. No. Or you think, well, I'm so glad I know the difference between a verb and an adjective and a noun, because that changed my life. No. So I know we are so hard on, you know, what the teachers are, how the teachers are teaching, how they have to like take a snapshot of their homework, and then they have to download it, and they have to watch. I mean, they're sitting in front of a laptop for hours, and they're not engaged, right? They're not turning on their camera. They're not doing their homework. But you have an opportunity as a grandparent, as an auntie, as a, maybe your friend has kids. Turn everyday conversation into a learning opportunity. You know, you can teach them anything, something that you're interested in. My husband is into like the lifted trucks thing or the golf thing, right? I shouldn't say thing. It minimizes it. But my daughters have learned how to, you know, I've tried it. I am not a good archer, but both of them really got into it. And you would think, what does that have to do with academics? But, you know, a lot of the lessons that you teach are perseverance, right? It's like, you know what? I lost my job, but I know it's not the end of the world. You know what? Grandma has Alzheimer's, what my life is. And I don't want pity. I don't want you to see it as sad, because my mom is like a little kid who's teaching me to be in the present moment, to really laugh at what's happening now. She's like, I gave her a little bear. She's taking the shirt off, putting it back on, taking the shirt off, putting it back on. She's like a 3-year-old. But I'm looking at her thinking she is teaching us such valuable lessons. Don't regret the past. Don't regret and play the mistakes over and over in your head. Is that going to lengthen your life? No. So grow as your journey. You know, get lost in playing video games. What? I'm not a video game person, but I could get lost in a Disney movie, you know. I got lost in Raya. It was a dragon movie that Chelsea wanted to watch on her 19th birthday, and really get into the characters so that it's not just a movie that you're not interested in that bores you. You know, watch what your kids, what your grandkids are interested in. Is it Star Wars? Is it now SpongeBob and I don't know, the old cartoons? Snoopy's coming, not Snoopy. Snoopy's kind of always been popular, but Scooby-Doo's coming back, right? So be excited about what your child is excited about. Whether it's some kind of food thing that you don't like, but your 24-year-old says, oh my gosh, Mom, you have to taste this lilikoi mochi, which is what happened last night. I'm not into lilikoi, but I said, you know what? Oh my gosh, that must be amazing. I'm going to try and I think there was a coconut mochi. But, you know, we got into the, oh my gosh, this is amazing. And it's food. But what is the academic lesson in that? There's not an academic lesson, but there's a real life lesson. How to experience genuine joy during the pandemic, right? We have forgotten how to enjoy life, simple blessings. And they always say that, be grateful, right? And you have people, how can we be grateful when there's like Asian hate crimes going on, when there's the pandemic going on, and, you know, you name it. And it's like, you know what? Let's flip switch it. What's fantastic about your life today? I could say, oh no, I don't want to do this Facebook Live. I was having a little challenging morning. I thought, you know what? No, I'm going to get excited about it, even if no one is watching. Thank you, Ed, for popping on. Because, you know, it's very therapeutic for me to just do this. I question why I should do it sometimes, but it's the process of putting myself out there. You know, I'm contacting the media about my book. News releases have been sent out from the publisher, and I'm telling myself, it doesn't matter if anyone contacts me. It doesn't matter if anyone watches me. But I am learning to grow. I'm learning to conquer that fear. I have a very big fear of speaking in public, and I'm doing it. So face your fears, do something uncomfortable. I'm going to post this TikTok that I did that is really out of my comfort zone. I don't do Eminem. I don't do rap. I don't do certain songs. And I did it. And my friend Deslin posted it on her Instagram, and I was not ready for it. And she goes, Karen, did you die? I said, no, but I'm embarrassed. And I thought, you know what? That's what we have to do. Be that little kid, Ed, and, you know, if you have a granddaughter, play dress up with her. I love when fathers and grandfathers let their little girls in their life paint their nails, put curlers in their hair, have a tea party, okay? So get in the part of the journey. I want to share something. I've got to, you know, pat my husband on the back for canceling an archery shoot to go to a tea party at, it was in Bishop Museum. It was something near downtown by the mission homes. And it was a tea party from a Groupon. It wasn't even like a big event, but he wanted to be there. And instead of, well, I don't know if he wanted to be there, but he wanted to be a good dad. So he told his friends at the archery place, you know what? I gotta leave, guys. I have to go to a tea party. Can you imagine? The dads were like, what? And if you're not a dad, you're thinking, wait a minute, this is our time to shoot. What are you doing? And he came, and Chelsea's face lit up. And I thought, this is why. This is why you're an amazing dad. Yes, you annoy us sometimes. Yes, you make us roll our eyes. But for the most part, you just have to show up. You know, those little sandwiches, he probably could have had 1,000 of them, but he, you know, ate the tiny sandwiches. He drank the tea. He's not really a tea drinker, but grow with your child. And just remember how it was. So instead of saying, don't make the stupid mistake that I did, right? That's what starts fights. When you look at your child and go, what? You're gonna what? And that immediately breaks the emotional connection because your child doesn't feel supported, and it could be when you're 43, right? No matter if your dad or mom, if they're still alive and you've had them look at you and just judge you, you immediately go into that little child frame of mind and you think, I'm a bad kid. I'm not good enough. We all suffer, I think. I do at least. I'm not good enough. And those low self-esteem issues can drastically affect your health. You know, when you feel like you're not good enough, it causes stress. It causes anxiety. It causes sleepless nights. It causes major stress. Oh my gosh, is that you, Jan? Thanks for popping on. You were talking about the lessons that our children can teach us. And then the last one, which I know is very difficult to practice, especially if you're pissed off at your kid or at yourself. This is hard when you're upset at yourself for the decisions that you made or the life that you created. It is self-love, selfless love. So you want to make sure that you teach your kids that it's okay to love themselves, because if they hear you complain, if they hear you being critical, and they hear you, even they can feel it. Kids can feel it. You know, you can say it's going to be okay. We're having a flash flood, but it's going to be okay. They can feel it. You know, I was tutoring a 5-year-old, and you know when your phone goes beep 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 beep, flash flood warning, and then I said, you know, it's okay, and I said, are you scared? He says, I'm a little bit worried. I'm a little bit worried because the news is saying flash flood, and so you have to say, you know what? It does feel scary, doesn't it? But I'm here for you. You don't have to say it's going to be okay, because they might be like, I don't think it's going to be okay. These people are losing their farms and their houses. How can you tell me that it's going to be okay? So you just say, you know what? It is scary, isn't it? COVID is scary. I had a 6-year-old. Yeah, I can't play with my cousin because of COVID. I hate COVID. And I was like, yeah, COVID is not someone you want to make friends with. But COVID doesn't, isn't a reason to live in fear, isn't a reason to live in paranoia, because guess what? We're not going to be able to live in the moment. We're not going to be able to slow down. We can't even, that imagination is going to go off the charts, negative, what if negative? What if my child gets it? What if I get it? What if, my loved ones die? So the power of imagination can work both ways. Really be conscious of you and teach your child that. I'm going to close by saying, love grows bigger. Remember the Grinch? His heart got bigger and bigger and bigger because he practiced self-love and learned to love others. Get this, really listen to this, exactly the way they are. I have a mom. Her son is in prison, right? Former student of mine. I just sent a letter to him. And I thought, I'm sure the mom's thinking, could I prevented it? I only tutored him for a year. Could I prevented it? You cannot prevent the mistakes that your child is meant to have. I believe that everything happens for a reason. I was talking to my friend and she said, you know what? Every hardship that we have builds resilience. We have to really get that into our minds. Like whenever someone is sad, they are going to learn compassion. Whenever someone loses, when I lost my dad as an only child, it's devastating to lose a loved one, right? I am working with a mom whose older kids kind of divorced her or disowned her. I know a grandmother whose son also divorced her. It is not your fault. If something that you consider bad is happening, it's a blessing in disguise. How can a child who divorces you be a blessing? You know what? You do not want to have any negative people in your life, even if they're family. People who are close to me know that my mother-in-law sued us. $70,000, you guys, lost to legal fees, lost the haiku home. No one got it. And I thought, you know what? I thought it was the worst thing possible. But then I thought, you know what? She has taught me to be compassionate about things that I don't understand. I need to look at not why she did what she did, but just respect an opposing idea, a person who, right now I hate these people who are committing hate crimes. And when my daughter said, these must be really sad people to commit such crimes. They must feel so much hatred to commit a crime. Are their souls at peace? No. If you're committing a crime, a violent crime, you are filled with so much self-hatred, around, towards everyone, right? I mean, one of my friends in Seattle, her son is Korean, and when he was a senior in high school, he was told that he brought it's his fault that Corona's here. It's your fault that you're Asian, that Corona is here. So instead of lashing out, remember during the Trump thing, I mean, people didn't want to go on social media because it was just, I love how someone said CNN is constant negative news. And I try not to watch the news. So half the time I don't even know what's going on. I don't mind. Facebook tells me, my people around me tell me, but Sorry, I'm deflecting, but the main thing is learn from your children. Oh, Jan, thank you. She said, I love that you discussed this today. I believe that we are meant to hear certain messages. So if you feel a lot of regret, if you feel that you are not loved, if you feel that any form of hatred, guess what? I'm here to tell you and remind you that you are good enough exactly the way that you are, to remind you to tell yourself. There's a mirror exercise. I invite you to look in the mirror. You're going to sound silly. I did it. Try to do it for 5 minutes. If not, do it for 1. Look in your eye. Look yourself in the eye and say your name. So Ed, you'd be like, Ed, you're amazing. Ed, I love when you fill in the blank. Okay? So Jan, you're going to say, you know what, Jan? I might have made mistakes, but you are amazing. Jan, you are worthy of love, and you brought these boys in the world, right? You are amazing, but remind yourself, we need to practice self-love so the kids in our lives can practice self-love instead of getting so upset about all these horrible things that are happening around us, because I believe what you focus on attracts. I mean, you attract what you focus on. So this is a tiny, tiny thing that happened, and I give you the freedom, or I know you have every right to believe what you want to believe, but I've been wanting to buy a waffle iron. Trying to save money, I'm not going to buy a waffle iron. Well, guess what? My husband went to a baby shower and he got like a little, it's going to make 4-inch waffles, and it's a sky blue, my favorite color, blue waffle maker. That's a tiny thing. I've been wanting to attract a parent, a struggling parent who I can help. And I just found one yesterday. Her 20-year-old, they had a huge fight and she just left the house and they are no longer talking. Be loving towards yourself. I just want to tell you guys, well, Ed and Jan, thank you so much for watching this. This is a long one. I'm trying to do 20 minutes or 15, but you know me, I need to practice more silence. So after this, I don't tutor until 12. So I'm going to practice silence and maybe make a waffle. Thanks for watching, guys. So remember, okay? Sorry, 1 minute. Live in the moment. Slow down. Use the power of positive imagination. Grow as part of your journey. See any negative event in your life. There's a blessing in it. There's a lesson in it. And number 5, practice self-love.